wants to speak from here, we'll just take a minute if anyone feels like sharing their voice into the space.
I'll just share something. I noticed that I was almost like wallowing in the beautiful vulnerability and letting go, and tears were coming down, and it was beautiful. But then I also I realized I still wasn't surrendering. Like it was the idea of surrendering that was giving me such bliss. But it was another way I was not turning towards.
Mm.
And as soon as I turned towards, the tears went away and I was filled. It was, I was not separate anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And Andy, what I want to say is that's the doorway. Like, first, sometimes we have to cry because we hardened ourselves. And that hardening is why we can't open. Like, some parts of us mistrusted or felt alone, and then we hardened, and the tears are the softening. The tears as they rain down soften the earth so that the earth is now soft and receptive instead of hard and compact, right? Is that as you allowed the vulnerability and the crying, you opened yourself, and then when you actually turned, you were filled. So it's a beautiful actual, like, I think that is the process, is the need to cry for all the separateness that we've been living in and to reopen. Beautiful. Thank you.
I can share. Thank you for this. It's a good reminder that the devotional door just feels like home to me. Um, it's like all my past lives where I was a priestess just came back to me, and I just was down on the floor, and it just home,
Mm. Mm.
home. And every once in a while, I do this thing where when I feel called to just, like, I see myself just putting my life down at the feet of God. And this reminds me that I realize I want to do that every day. So I'm going to add this back to my daily ritual. And toward the end, I just stood outside with the sun on my face, and it really felt like bathing in the divine light.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, and I can feel you illuminated in it. I actually feel like all this brightness, and for some reason I keep seeing tendrils of your hair even though you're up. So maybe I'm getting intermingled with some of your other lives because I'm seeing these tendril hairs. So beautiful. Yes, yeah. Many, many doors to the divine. And some of them are feminine, some of them masculine, all true. Any last share before we keep going?
Give you the opposite experience.
Yeah, share.
Like for me, I just like noticed like how afraid I am to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And how much my system like tightened up, and like and even like surrendering that tightening, just like it just didn't. It's like such a hard door for me, and I also have a desire to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole I don't know, there's a self-reliance on that I need to be able to run the doing it, which I have like trained for my life or something. And surrendering is
yeah. And self-reliance is the shadow of which bender?
true.
Tree? Yeah. Yeah. So, but then tree, the wisdom is none other than myself. And then the shadow is self-reliance, like up, the little me, up to me. So what's interesting is there's a wisdom and there's a beauty, because when we're surrendered to God or in this doorway of devotion, we might get caught in the duality and not realize none other than my own mind or I and God are one. And so all the wisdoms are kind of completing, one of the images I have is the 7 facets of a diamond, because none of the wisdoms are complete by themselves, right? None other than myself, yet I must be devoted and surrendered, like the opposites that are true. And then, you're hitting the part's biggest fear, which makes this doorway hard. And that's my experience, is the reason that certain doorways are hard typically is because that's where our most grab is, or most offended pattern is. So for people whose doorway is external, they're holding the most tension in the inside of their body, so they can't go in that way. And the people whose doorway is internal, they have walls to the outside world. And that's why the doorways are just, where are you undefended from that source? That's actually what a doorway is. It's the reason one is easier than another is it's the one that relates to your natural gift or your natural wisdom. Like in water, it's the more feminine, connective, union, relational, devotional, surrender pathway. But it's also, maybe someone who has the shadow of water would be afraid to be alone and wouldn't want to do something where they just have to surrender, where it's their own mind. That might feel too lonely if you had the shadow of water. Do you see that? Yeah. Thanks for sharing. And with each of these explorations, I think it's very important to use what is natural and easy, because that has something to do with you. And then you can also notice, oh, this is the area that I have more restriction, and maybe I play with this area. Like, what would it be like to keep exploring why it's so hard to give it up or give it over or surrender? And that exploration might open a whole new range for you, Patrick.
Like totally blocked in that area.